UPDF officers who were here. It's a very unique reunion for me, because I get to sit together with the people I met a long time ago, the struggle to acquire some knowledge, to be able to be in a position where we can also participate in the shaping of the direction of this country. At that time, we were inspired by statements like, we do not mind what turn history takes, but will not allow history to take any turn without our participation. So we embraced what was there, but we chose to participate at whatever level. We used the opportunity we had at the university to create a bond that exceeded our regional belongings, our tribal belongings, which speaks volumes to our belief that the waters and rivers and mountains that divide us are not deeper than the blood that connects us as citizens of this country. I remember with great fondness the Honorable Minister Adolf Musige when he was my campaign manager, when I was running for guild as president of the guild. I didn't quite make it, we stopped along the way, and at that time the divisions were severe. I joined forces with the Norbert Mao, and obviously my good campaign manager joined forces with the late Brigadier Mayombo. And the results were out and Mao won. And again, we had another contest with the minister to become Speaker of the Guild. This time he stood against the person he was supporting. And in the history of elections, there could have been no better defeat in the history of, because I actually defeated Honorable Adolf Musige very, very, very sadly. Major General Mujira, I remember one time we were doing something at Makerere where we were leaders, and I needed to represent or to speak in the position of, what was his name? Jerry Rawlings. And I needed an army uniform at the rank of a lieutenant. And General Mujira then was a lieutenant, so he gave me his uniform. And I showed up as Jerry Rawlings. Except, of course, I was much darker than Jerry Rawlings. But we had a good time. Then for some reason, because the activities took long, I did not have the opportunity to quickly return the uniform, and I received the 4-page letter from General Mujira threatening me that if I did not return the uniforms in time, certain things were going to happen. But that is the friendship we've built over years. Of course, I remember with fondness my own member of parliament, Felix Kulaiji, who at that time, Bravo Rousers, is one of the people who stopped one of my activities. I started something at Makerere called the Ideological College. Ideological College, we used to have it every Thursday afternoon, and we would bring people from government. I remember General Tafire was one of the frequent participants in my meetings. Amanda Mushega was there. I don't remember, I think Masiko was also there, most of the time. Kano Kulaije, and they started filing reports that were inappropriate about my activities. And eventually, my ideological college got dissolved unceremoniously. But also when I had the request for blood donation, I remember with great fondness some picture I shared with the Karimide. There was a picture showing, going the rounds about when the general went for blood donation. Well, the general Kano. When the Kano went for blood donation. It was not about the MPL-40 or some sophisticated weapon. It's just a needle. And the general cried like a baby. So I like the CDF to first maybe do some sensitization of the generals and others when they are going for blood donation. Because now we are beginning to know that when you really want to attack the UPDF, don't look for guns. Just look for needles. But I want to correct one statement that was made by the member for the East African Legislative Assembly when she said that there was a time when the people of Acholi did not support the UPDF. That is incorrect. That is not true. And let the records show that. There has never been any time in the history of this country where the Acholi as a community have never supported the UPDF. No. They may not have supported the NRM. That's a different ballgame. But the UPDF, they have always given support. So let the records be corrected to that. While we must remember our past, but not for its own sake, not for dividing people, but our past as a resource from which we can invest for the future. Our past as a piece of clay from which, using Honorable Hilary Onek's word, we can mold our own future. A past which is a raw material from which we can use to manufacture the fabric of the things that constitute our peace and development. The past as an instrumental instructional material to advise about the things we should avoid and focus on the things that we must embrace to consolidate the future. This past that we talked about, what has it been like? How can it instruct us? And what have we done so far about this past? There was a time when this country was not like this. And we'll know it. And let's stop pretending. We all know it. We all have experienced it. So sometimes when you hear people talk, you think they'll put their heads in some dark places where they can't hear or see. Uganda got independence in 1962. From 1962, 24 years later, Uganda had 9 presidents and it had 7 military coups. A lot of people went into exile, a lot of people died. 24 years, 9 presidents, 9 military coups. 7 military coups. 33 years later, from 1986, I am just stating facts. 33 years later, we have had 1 president and 7 elections. First 24 years, 9 presidents, 7 military coups. 33 years, 1 president, 7 elections. Essentially, we have moved from coups to elections, something we should celebrate. These are facts, bare facts, that we have moved away from coups, 7 of them, and we have conducted in its place 7 successful elections. That's a celebration we need to have when we commemorate these days. That also means we have moved away from the bullets to the ballots. Same number of letters, almost similar letters, but significantly different, telling the story of a nation that has decided to rediscover itself from bullets to ballots. We have had a definition of terms. In the past, we used to have people we call exiles. Now, these same people we call them the diaspora. And guess what? In our budget, like we are doing the budget framework paper now, we are capturing the contribution of our people in the diaspora to the economy. We never used to capture the contribution of exiles. These are things we should celebrate. These are reasons for us to celebrate other people. We have moved from human wrongs to human rights. That's a major transformation. Now, from a ragtag force to a ragtag force called the NRA, the transformation has become the UPDF, a professional army, an international respect, an envy of the world. We need to celebrate this. It does not matter which party I belong to. These are facts about what has happened to us. We cannot ignore them. We cannot think as if they never happened. When we treat them like they happened, then we take our situation now more seriously than we used to, and our focus will change. So, I remember one day, I was around the Constitutional Square, City Square, and there was this soldier. From the look of him, he did not look like a wealthy person. He was walking, his shoes were not very good, but he had bought his grocery. He was holding on the right hand, and on his left he was holding an AK-47. And some fellow came, ran quickly, grabbed the man's groceries, and took off. The soldier did not even look at his gun. He just looked at the man running and laughed. Politically, and I must say this, you see, sometimes we try to find out why Uganda has changed, why there's this stability, why there's this peace. We don't value the small things that happen. One of the president's widows came back and ran against him for president. Yes. Is that small? No. That the wife of a deposed president can come back into the country and run for office against the person who deposed her husband. Does that make sense to you? Isn't this something we should celebrate? In a country where the son of a former deposed president is a member of parliament and his wife is a minister. In a country where the grandson of everybody, a person who everybody calls a dictator, anybody wake up will call him a dictator. And then you see the president of the country standing on the same vehicle with the grandson of a former dictator of this country, whose record we all know. But he stands with the grandson of Idi Amin on his car and is campaigning for him to become a member of parliament. And he is a member of this parliament. And it was a by-election. Members. And these reasons for us to celebrate. And these reasons for us to give new meaning to TAREHE SITA and all the infrastructure that has been built after that to make this country what it is today. Isn't it a reason for celebrations? The UPDF, improved image, transformed image. I'm not saying from the time they came, they were holy as thou. No. We had days of reports on the junk helicopters, yes. We had days of the reports on the planes that had one wing. Yes. We started wondering how these one-winged planes would take off. But we had those days. But are those days still here? The answer is no. The image has changed dramatically. And And this is the cause for celebration. That you have a force that is respected worldwide, but even internally. In the books, they have accounted for their conduct, for what they do, and for the money that we give to them. Civil-military relations. I don't even need to talk about this. You've just had a snapshot of what they are going to do to enhance this relationship. Beyond the call of duty, they act. Landslide strikes in Bududa, they are there. Situations of natural disaster, they are there. Boats where people are enjoying themselves sinking, they are there. Ebola, they are there. To the extent that we had our own general, the late General Kerra, rest in peace, even being sent to West Africa to deal with the issues of Ebola. This is the force we are talking about. National peace. We have just talked about it, with the exception of they've already said it, so let me not say it. But the disarmament, regional peace and security. When you talk about Congo, you can talk about South Sudan, you can talk about Somalia. We have committed men and women leaving their families to go and help other people live their potential. I can never in my whole life forget a picture. It was published in the newspapers of a UPDF soldier sitting holding his gun and little Somali children swimming. For the first time, they had never swam. But this soldier was there with his gun, watching the children swim. Now, you tell me, these fellows had not swum almost their whole lives. But situations change, and then you have this soldier sitting there in watch, just in case some funny fellow is going to show up. These children must be protected. They are respected in Somalia. They are respected in Sudan. They are respected worldwide. They have become an envy of the world. That's why we celebrate this force. For me, as Jacob Oulanyah, the day I discovered that General Muhoozi is sleeping, I will not sleep. But I sleep very well knowing that General Muhoozi is awake. And all of you who don't have any capacities to hold guns and defend this country, you sleep with your teeth falling off because some sets of people are staying awake to guarantee your safety. If you come to my office, you can think I'm a general. I have plaques from the command thing of Arusha, of Dar es Salaam, Nigeria, Ghana. Mention them there in my office. I feel like a general myself. Our dream as countrymen and countrywomen is that we have peace permanently in this country. That is our dream. And if everybody joins in this dream, we will have the reality of Uganda being a peaceful country forever and forever. Bravo, UPDF!